Joe McKenzie here, your watercolor coach. Today I'm calling Watercolor Mixed Bag. This is for my entertainment. Maybe because I don't want to get to painting heads yet, but I will get to that. With the promise, I've made the promise in this house that I will not be pouting today. So pouting is not a good look on a 60-year-old. Anyway, first question is, these are two, let's get the snarky ones out of the way. I got two snarky comments. One is, in painting the heads, for example, so someone suggested that it was time to pick up a smaller brush. Well, that's sweet. Maybe they didn't mean it in a snarky way, but if you follow my channel at all, you know that I'm not interested in getting into fine detail. I'm doing the opposite. I want to have things be as broad as possible, as few strokes as possible, simplifying forms. That's what I'm interested in. So thanks, but no thanks. I don't need to buy a smaller brush. Oh, and the other one is, if you watched yesterday's video, I did a lot of ear touching. I have no idea why, but I've looked at some not sign language, but interpreting body language channels, and they say that's a sign that you're comforting yourself when you do that. So maybe I was nervous yesterday. I don't know, but I'll try not to touch my ear again. And here's a shout out to Deborah Secor, who responded to my being so wacky after the online course that I took. She suggested, when taking an online course, that it would be wise to find one thing, one takeaway, a bullet point, so to speak, when you go to one of these classes, to take away one thing rather than the whole entirety of it. And she finds that is really a better way to learn from a workshop. And I take her advice. I think she's very wise about that. Oh, and here's another question. Karen Howard wanted to know about paint drips, when you're working on an easel, as I do. And I just realized the easel is going through my head behind me. That's not a good look either. Anyway, Karen, I tried to make a video about that because really it just comes down to practicing and paint viscosity. But my video is really an unsuccessful one. I have gotten so accustomed to managing and controlling the paint that I actually can't make a drip, which is interesting. The other way to not have paint drips, obviously, is to work on a flat surface. Boy, the reflection on my glasses is not great. But I did find when I worked on a flat surface over a period of time that it was very difficult on my neck and shoulders. So I would just say to you, Karen, you really, your paint needs to be somewhat thicker. The thinner it is, the more likely it is to drip right off the page. Also, a fine quality paper will soak up better the drips than poor quality. And then have a paper towel nearby. Peace L. Rose asked me yesterday, she said that I seem very happy in my videos. And she wanted to know what makes me happy. Oh my gosh, what makes me happy? Well, sometimes just petting a dog and having a chocolate chip cookie is enough. We all have a dark side. I'm certainly not happy all the time, far from it. But art makes me happy. That I have to admit, this is my happy place. This is my Disneyland. If I'm learning and growing, or in the actual act of painting, that really is when I'm the happiest. And so that's why I engage in it so much. So thanks for the question. And I would say to you, Peace L. Rose, what makes you happy? Because I'd be interested to know. And the last question is, well, it's not a question as much as an observation. People have written me and asked me about this, and it's a dilemma. I will just say it's a dilemma, and one to contemplate and think about. And it is when you love painting, as I do, and then it becomes not your hobby anymore, not just something that you love, but something that you want to make money at, or that you need to make money at. There's a real cognitive dissonance in that, because it can take away your love of painting. Because suddenly the thing that you went to as your refuge from the world suddenly becomes something else. It's not, it's your vocation, but it also is your lifeline to money. That can really tip the balance of how you feel about your work, and unfortunately can also tip your work, because it can mess with, what's happening up here. I think that's why a lot of artists, this is a real stereotype, so this may not be true. I mean, everybody struggles with being happy and being sad, and I'm skirting around the word depression here, but I do think artists, because we spend a lot of time alone, because some of us really do need to make some money from this endeavor, those are things that can kind of press on you and can ruin your love for painting and can kind of sour things. And I would just say that I think that's a challenge that all of us face. And so, I'd be curious to know from all of you how you deal with that. I kind of deal with it. How do I deal with it? I've dealt with it in different ways over the years, I would say. At this point, I've given myself, I'm kind of punching my ticket, so to speak. And my ticket is, I'm almost afraid to say it out loud, but I've made this decision and I followed through on it, which is I don't take commissions anymore. I've reached an age, I don't know if it's an age or a place, where I don't want to paint anything I don't want to paint anymore. I feel like I don't have time. Every day is a learning opportunity and I don't have time to stop and paint something that I'm not interested in painting. So I've kind of dropped some of the commercialism that I was very invested in the past in favor of my own enthusiasms for painting. But everybody has to figure out their own recipe, of course. This is so individualized. So that's my thoughts for the day, and thank you for the questions. And now I'm going to get busy painting heads, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye-bye. Oh, remember to keep the whites of your paper. Oh, I touched my ear. Darn it. Darn it. Oh, that's a tell. Well, I'll leave it in the video anyway because it's kind of hilarious. Remember to keep the whites of your paper white, your paints wet, master value, mix for color, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.